All right, welcome. We're going to do another quick episode just to give an update on what's going on out there across North Dakota and Minnesota. Currently, I'm just taking a look at the radar. Got a whole kind of mixed bag of precipitation out along the Red River Valley, up and through Thief River Falls, kind of close into Roseau. This particular radar, like I said, is just showing a mix of precip. There have been previously reports of some freezing rain, even some moderate freezing rain out there on occasion. It looks like, I think, as we take a look at some of the current conditions out there, most of this right now is snow. I don't really see much currently in the way of freezing rain like we had earlier, but as we zoom in, we're looking at Crookston here. This indicates snow here, Thief River Falls, light snow, some moderate snow at the Grand Forks Air Base. So it looks like right now everybody's pretty much moved over to snow. We did have some reports earlier as we zoom on out of some rain and even some moderate freezing rain in around the air base. So there probably are some slick roads out there that are going to be occurring if they haven't already, just because there have been patches of rain on occasion that I've seen throughout this general area here. And I know I was out earlier. We were taking a trip way up in Carlston, and on our way back, we had some. It was more like grapple, I guess, maybe very wet grapple, because it seemed like as soon as it hit your hand, it did kind of melt. So what was out there was wet in a sense. The roads were still okay, but once we did get back to Grand Forks, we hit some pretty good snow, actually. Flipping back to the radar, we're going to take a look at the actual Grand Forks radar. We're going to let that load up and kind of give you a shot of what exactly it's showing. So you can see from the Grand Forks radar, area of basically, let's say the drawing here, moderate snow, essentially. Once again, kind of through Crookston, Thief River Falls, down through Healdsboro, back into the Castleton area. Was kind of concerned originally when I saw this that this would be, I think, and it probably was a mixed precip. A lot of times when you see these, and especially for as bright as it was, this was actually pretty yellow in through here once it was kind of out in this area. There was plenty of yellow that was showing up on the radar. And a lot of times what that means is that we have a layer that is actually melting, and it's either refreezing or it's freezing rain. But I think that was out there at one time, just because, like I said, the air base did show that there was some moderate freezing rain. But I think what happened is things eventually are getting colder. It's that precipitation has moved east into the colder air, and instead of being more mixed, it became more moderate snow as it fell. So it was coming down pretty good. And if we take a look at, I'm going to show you. Jump over here. Here's a shot. It's the North Dakota mill. Sits up pretty high. It's on the north end of Grand Forks. Looks like it's, some big flakes out there. It's actually not as bad as it was looking earlier. If we take at some of the roads that are out there currently and some of the cameras in the vicinity of Grand Forks, and probably actually should look south now. It looks like some of that heavier snow is south. But look what it did to the roadway. This is interstate at about mile marker 143, and a lot of snow on the road. So looks like, we probably picked up at least an inch on this. Roads are very snow covered, as you can you can see on that, just that picture alone. Roads are not good on the interstate. Here's further north. This is I'm not too well, closer to Drayton. I'm not sure of the mile marker, but you can see 66 mile marker 138 So you can see plenty of snow going over the roadway. Now we talked about that wind that's going to be coming in later this evening. That's going to be obviously a problem. So now we've had some freezing rain. Maybe it collected on some of the trees, but not only that, now we've got a fresh layer of snow. And I'll show you some of the winds here too that are currently going on. Here's the NDON. This is out of NDSU, or the kind of handles this, the North Dakota Agricultural Weather Network. You can see plenty of coverage that these stations provide, and it's been around quite a while. It's a pretty handy system, network of stations that are around there. Really fills in the gaps. You can see what's left of this warm air nose. Like kind of said last night, didn't really think the areas in the Red River Valley were going to get that warm, just because we're sitting under plenty of snowpack, and it just wasn't looking like that nose of that real warm air was going to make it that far east. So here's what's left of it. It was in the upper 30s or mid 30s, at least down in the southwestern, western parts of the state. Now we're having that cold front move through, and you can see here's what's left of the 30s. Cold front kind of sitting in through here. Now take a look at that. We're going to keep that on there. We're going to flip on over to the impressive wind gusts that are out there. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. A double shot. So here are the peak wind gusts going on right now. Take a look at it. It's Palmero, 60 mile per hour gusts. Berthold, 61. Plenty, 50s, 40s, 60, 53 in Turtle Lake, 55. Where's that? Robinson. So these winds are coming, folks, and they're going to be heading into these areas that still have plenty of snow. So we're still looking at the very real potential, some whiteout conditions as we get into the Devil's Lake Basin, James River Valley, into the Red River Valley, and then into western parts of Minnesota. That's where you can see, we're actually going to pull this radial data off, and also take actual radar off as well. And here is our winter storm warning. Basically up from Belcourt, Devil's Lake, just to Valley City, Oaks, Windermere, Fargo, up and through Polk County, up through Roseau. Basically pretty much where much of the snow currently is. And further out into the west, some of these areas have got a crust over them, so they're not really expecting much in the way of blowing snow. I would expect maybe some of these areas further north into Belcourt, north of Minot. I know there's still plenty of snow up and through there, so they might even get some blowing snow that would occur up there. I would very much imagine as these winds really start to get moving through that region. But otherwise, they've just got a high wind warning through the remainder of the state. So here we are. We've got these 40s and 50s and 60 knot gusts through western North Dakota. And let's take a look at what the models are looking like. Here is up at what we call 850 millibars, so about 5,000 feet above the ground. And we're seeing these wind barbs that are actually 50 to 55 knots. So that's about 60 miles per hour. And that's right about where we're seeing those strong gusts. Now, if we watch that little red area as we click through the time, and once again, please forgive my very slow computer, but eventually I will get a better one. But for now, we're going to have to hang in there. But here, kind of it slides in through Minot, just starts to get into Devil's Lake, just north of Bismarck, and this is about midnight. And then we're moving into 3 a.m. Now we're getting into the James River Valley, just kind of starting to touch the southern part of the Red River Valley. Now, these levels might not be quite as indicative of winds further off in the northwest, and that's just because of elevation. Actually, you'd be surprised how much elevation changes. So from the eastern part of the North Dakota to the west. So the 850 millibar level is actually a little bit closer off in the northwest. So that's why, when you see these winds earlier, it was a lot easier to sort of mix down to 60 miles per hour, just because it is a little bit closer to that 850 millibar level. Off in the east, it still has the potential, but will it mix all the way down? Perhaps. We might want to take a look at a little bit lower, something a little bit closer to the surface. So we're going to go down a few thousand feet, and they're even showing, 40 to 50 knots. So there again, we're still looking at least 50 mile per hour wind gusts that are going to be taking place through Devil's Lake again, Jamestown, Valley City, Castleton, Hillsboro, up and through Grand Forks, just north of Grand Forks, Walhalla. Now this is about like I said, about the 3 a.m. time frame. And as we move it along into 6 a.m., still very windy, still looking at winds, 45, possibly 50 miles per hour at this time frame. We're going to go up one more level just to see once again where those winds are at. And probably the strongest winds will be just outside the valley, more into Devil's Lake, Walhalla, Carrington area. So probably the best chance of blizzard conditions right now would be there. However, I would not be surprised to see it mixed down to the valley, just because we do seem to get a bit of a wind tunnel effect that comes through, especially at these directions out of the northwest. Anytime you get a northwest or some kind of northerly component, it seems like these winds really like to funnel down into the valley. So very likely we're going to see 45 to 60 knot or 60 mile per hour wind gusts by 3 a.m. into 6 a.m. We're going to move it along. Here's 9 a.m. Some of these winds start to die off. Once again, this is the upper levels. Here was that level, that 850 millibar level, where we saw all those reds in there and meant really strong winds. You don't see as much red in there at 9 o'clock in the morning. So it looks like by that time it will start decreasing some, but we're still seeing gusts of 40, and that's still, if the visibilities are low enough, and we saw where some of the snow was falling right in through this region, very going to still be blowing some snow around. So at 40 miles per hour and low visibilities, very likely we're going to be still seeing blizzard type conditions at 9 o'clock in the morning. These winds do start to decrease a little more closer to noon. Here we are at noon, and now you're seeing gusts maybe to 30, 35 miles per hour. Still plenty of drifting going on. I'm sure some of these roads are going to be just, you could see what I showed you earlier when just the snow was just covering the interstate. So now you're going to add some winds to it, and you're still going to, so now you're going to get drifts coming across these roads, especially the north, well, any kind of roads really, just given the direction, whether it's north, south, or east or west. So it's going to take a little bit for these roads most likely to open up, especially the secondary roads are not going to be very good at all until later in the day. Here we are at 3 p.m. Now we're getting down to the 25 to 30 mile per hour winds. A little more manageable, visibility's been picking up. Still going to be some drifting, but just a matter of, how quickly can we get some of these roads back open again. And then once we go, by 6 p.m., decreasing slightly, but, still a little bit gusty. So these winds are going to be hanging around a while and are going to be causing some blizzard conditions in the east. I'm sorry if I kind of skipped over some of you guys in the west, just because you don't have the snow that we do further east. So you're really dealing more with just wind. Now, the only other thing I'll say about that is we're going to jump back to our, let's go back to our temperatures here. And like I said before, some of these areas were above freezing and got rain. I know Bismarck got rain. Dickinson was getting some rain. So some of these stations out and through here were getting rain earlier. Now we're down to 25, down, quickly getting down to the teens. So would very much expect that these roads that are currently showing blue from, New Salem, blanking on my towns, through Jamestown, that are showing wet. If they don't dry off, they're going to get icy just because these temperatures are going to be cooling very rapidly. So I would expect a lot of these roads that did get some kind of precip out here, even if it's rain, it's going to be turning icy. And actually, you can see some of these other roads further north and east are already turning to scattered ice, mainly because of that. So, and take a look at off in the northwest now. They've got no travel advised. So yeah, the snow that is up there. I mean, there is snow up there. So when there's plenty of winds going on, that take a look at that. I mean, you barely see on that camera. A little better there. That picture looks like it's very hard to see. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell with nighttime. I wish it was day, would help us a little more, but there you can tell the roads are getting kind of bad at this particular intersection. This is US 52 at milepost 68. I'm going to go up a little bit more. Let's go further north. I don't think we're going to really see much. I think that was the one I just had. Yeah, it's just hard to see at night, unfortunately, with some of these cameras. Ooh, that don't look great. I don't know if it was just the camera, but this is near Fortuna, US 85 at mile marker 246. So yeah, these areas up in the northwest that still do have snow, no travel advised. These candy cane roads, they're going to be sliding south and east throughout the night. You can expect more of this heading that way, and I would expect most of this area going to be red and white in the morning, if not some solid reds out there. And I don't know why this is doubling up. It's bizarre. What's going on here? What's going on? Epic pen, epic pen, epic pen. Don't know why it's doubling up. Gonna have to figure that one out later. But anyway, sorry about that. So, yeah, some interesting stuff out there. 1 second, I'm gonna take you back to the radar here and put that back on. Put you in motion here. I'm gonna take a look, just a peek if anybody's got anything interesting new on Twitter. Well, I was seeing some gusts out there, 60 to 65 mile per hour up in like that Bodal area. Uh, 49 gusts to 57 in Bull Bells. Gust to 61 at Ray. 61 is also the highest gust in the network so far. Oh, here's this guy. I like the weather unrated good guy. Run into him a time or two. Think a little bit. This is weather unrated. Storm Chaser, basically out of Grand Forks. I come across him a time or two when I've been out storm chasing, but he takes some really nice pictures. You ever get a chance to follow him? He's a good one to follow through North Dakota, especially the eastern part of the state, eastern and north, just because he does live in the vicinity. So Vix unrated. Go ahead and give him a follow. Gave him a retweet, but thank you for that. We're just going to take a look at a couple other things. Make sure not stepping on anybody's toes as we look at stuff. Yeah, Gusts up 63 in Crosby, 66 in Blaisdell, 64 in Williston or near Williston. So plenty of winds out there, boys and girls, and it's heading southeast. It's going to cover the state, going to move into the western parts of North Dakota, and it's not going to be pretty. One thing we had talked about last night were the temperatures, and where are we at with time? We're running down on time here. I don't want to keep these things too long. I mean, after a while, they just get boring, and you're just gonna stop listening eventually. But we mentioned the temperatures last night and what they're going to do, and we said they're going to plummet, especially as we get into Thursday. So here we are. This is Wednesday afternoon. We're only going to be seeing highs, maybe barely near zero down in the Dickinson, Bowman area. I mean, that's pretty low. We do kind of manage to get to -2. Big warm up there in Grand Forks, -3 up near Pembina, War Road, -4. And so this is Wednesday, and now I want to look at about there, I think. This should be Thursday morning when that high pressure really settles in, clears out the skies. Yeah, low is -6 out in the southwest to 30 below up in the northern parts of the Red River Valley. And let's take a look at the wind chill chart and what they're expecting. Not going to be a whole lot of wind just because we are under that high pressure. High pressure isn't, big dome high pressure, we don't see a lot of wind. But any kind of breeze is going to bring that temperature down when it gets that cold. So here we can see, possibly wind chills closer to 50 below up in the northeast. So, like I said, not a whole lot of wind, but enough that it's really going to bring it down. And it's going to be cold on Thursday. We do try to rebound after that, thankfully. I think even Thursday itself does a decent job, especially down in the southwest. Climb back up to near 20. So there's some hope. We'll jump forward a little bit here. Lows Friday morning, not quite as bad. -4 up in the north, -10 possibly up near Botno, I believe that is, and then closer to the teens down the southwest. And then it kind of continues to bounce around from there, where after that we get a few minor lows that come through. It doesn't really drop much for snow, but when they do come, the temperatures go up and then they go down. So we're going to be seeing a bit of a roller coaster after this. Chance for maybe a storm next weekend, and that will bring the temperatures up even more into Friday, Saturday. But we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if that really brings anything kind of significant precipitation or not. But right now, it's still a little too early to tell. So yeah, there you have it. Snow moving through. What's left of the snow, at least, in through the northern part of the Red River Valley into northern Minnesota. Like we said, didn't really expect a whole lot out of this, just because it is a drier system. It's a quick moving system. I know we did pick up some moderate snow in the northern parts of the valley. Probably dropped an inch or two across the region. So that's not going to be good. And once these winds hit, later tonight, probably closer to 2 or 3 a.m. In the valley region and through Devil's Lake, we're going to be seeing some blizzard conditions. And like I said, even the snow that is up into that Crosby area, already causing bad road conditions there. So there you have it. Thank you once again for joining me. And stay safe out there. Make sure if you have to go anywhere tomorrow, you check road conditions. You know what's going on. I don't think, again, it's going to be, once you get to the central part of the state, Garrison, Bismarck, Dickinson won't be as bad, obviously, but once at Crosby, Minot, Carrington, Devils Lake, Belcourt, you know, anybody in through here, you know, travel conditions are not going to be great once we get into the early morning hours, and very likely we're going to be seeing some blizzard conditions in through there. So there you have it, folks. Stay safe, and we will see you again some other time.